Hello to the Realema family. I hope everyone is doing really, really well. The Realema team really misses interacting with you guys, which is why we decided to sort of create a number and a series of videos so that we can keep in touch with you guys. As you can see, I'm recording this video from the comfort of my own, adhering to social distancing rules and making sure that I stay safe and healthy. I hope you're all doing the same, right? So without further ado, we thought we should arrange a quick discussion with you guys to make sure that you guys are back in the thick of things, you're psyched, and you're ready for the year ahead, right? And basically that you've got all your plans in order. So, as you can see, for today, the topic of discussion it's let's deal with reality and put our destiny in our own hands, right? So I'm not gonna waste any more time. I'm just going to get directly into the details. Okay. So, firstly, what we need to admit is that in South Africa, we have an unemployment problem, right? And instead of waiting for the government to do something for all of us, we need to do things for ourselves. We need to take some of these responsibility in our own hands to solve the problems that we exist. So as you can see here, I first started by looking at exactly what is the definition of unemployment to make sure that there's no confusion, right? And it turns out there's actually, depending how you look at it, two definitions. There's the official definition and there's a expanded definition. So make sure every time you see something related to unemployment statistics, look at exactly are they talking about the official definition or the expanded definition. You can see the details of and the difference between the two. The second thing that you need to look out for or be clear about is that in the definition of unemployment, they look at ages between 15 and 64. So that is important for context. And of course, our source for this information is Statistics South Africa. So that's where we get our information. So I'll get into the detail of the unemployment statistics as they stand today. Number one, so it's very important as a young person to understand where you fit in the grand scheme of things, right? So the first thing, as you can see here, we've got unemployment statistics. What you're seeing here is for quarter four of 2020, and these are categorized according to the education level. So what you can see here is number one, the less uneducated you are, the more chances you have of being unemployed, sorry. So you can see here, number one, that if you have a qualification that's less than matric, there's about 52.3 people that are unemployed. People with a matric qualifications is 37.9%. Other tertiary qualifications about 7.5%, graduates 1.8%, and there's other at 0.5%. I think what is important here is again understand that based on where you are in your life, right? Understand that there's a number of people that are probably competing for the same opportunities as you. Therefore, you need to make sure that you are the best candidate possible for you to qualify for employment. Okay. So, even with graduates, make sure that you study the right courses that are relevant well into the future. Okay, moving right along. Now, what you can see here is that we start breaking down the unemployment statistics a bit further. We look at here by gender. So we've got women in blue, men in red, and obviously the mean value or the combination of the two of the average in green. And as you can see here, the unemployment rate has been hovering between around 25% over the years. It's going slightly up or slightly down, but there's an upward trajectory, right? The real significant dent was in quarter two of 2020, but again, with the impact of COVID, the unemployment rate has increased significantly again. I'm sure you guys remember the news late last year where everyone was sort of shocked that about 2 million people lost their jobs. That's a reality. And COVID, again, has created a new reality for us. And you, as the youth, have the responsibility to make sure that you prepare yourself for the future. Okay. The third part that I would like to look at is if we start dividing or look at the unemployment statistics by population groups, right? You can see very clearly to say, from a white community perspective, there's about 8.8% of the people that are unemployed, with the highest unemployment rate among the African people or the Black people at 36.5%. Okay, obviously, we cannot ignore by the fact that the colored community also has 25.7%, and the Indian or Asian community combined has 11.8%. Okay, so number one, we need to make sure that we understand these and we start reversing the cycle that we see here, and that has been like that pretty much for a very long time. If you just look at there, the unemployment rate for Black people is getting worse by the day. Same for the colored community. With the Indian and Asian community, it has gone down. So that's good for them. They're clearly doing something right. And then with the white community, it has also gradually gotten worse. So we need to reverse the cycle. And we'll talk about other sort of ideas that we can explore to reverse that cycle. Okay, sorry about that. So what we're seeing here again is another study. I believe this was done around 2017. The report was released. This came from the World Economic Forum, where they looked at the drivers of change, time to impact on the employee skills. Again, this is something that we've been talking about at the Realema Foundation with the youth that we engage on for a few months now, where we're saying the youth needs to be 4IR ready, the fourth industrial revolution, right? Now, we started having these conversations pre-COVID. What has happened with COVID is that it has just accelerated the rate of transformation and the uptake of certain technologies by global organization. And therefore, it means that the skill sets from a youth perspective also needs to migrate where there is a demand. And as you can see here, there's a number of demographic and socio-economic drivers of change, as well as technological changes. We have already had discussions with the youth that we engage with at the Realema Foundation to say things like cloud technology, mobile internet, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, 3D printing. There's a lot of solutions that are coming to the market, right? And therefore, the youth need to make sure that they start developing their skills in that context. And as you can see here, the impact is sort of forecasted to gradually grow over the years all the way to 2025. So you still have an opportunity to start developing your skills if you haven't done so previously. Okay. Additionally to that, there's a number of other significant barriers to change and industries overall. And we need to understand the future of the workforce and the strategies that different organizations are taking. And once you understand those, you also need to understand as a youth, a young person, to say, how do you better prepare yourself? Okay. And then we also looked at the COVID statistics. Now, one of the biggest impact of COVID, which I believe no one could have prepared for, was the fact that all of a sudden we were under lockdown. We had to adhere to social distancing, and essentially people couldn't work. They couldn't leave their homes. There was a lot of loss of income. Big organizations and corporates were found themselves also struggling, and they had to adapt very quickly. And what that did is that it changed some of the requirements from an employee perspective. So COVID, as bad as it was from a human life perspective, but even from an economy perspective, it was also bad. Quite a lot of companies closed down. Quite a lot of companies retrenched employees, and essentially it means everyone had to adapt. So even people that are classified as skilled or were previously classified as having relevant skills, all of a sudden found themselves not having jobs. So you're already again competing with people that already have experience, and you need to find a way to find a competitive advantage for yourself as a young person. So this is what we want to look at in the discussion today. So it brings us to the next slide, which is, so what now? Okay. Now, one of the this particular information comes from a blog that was created by Career Junction. Their research was also informed by a research that was done by the World Economic Forum. If you go and Google the future of jobs, you'll get some of the critical skills that the young people need to be ready for the fourth industrial revolution, right? And I believe even though some of these are changing over time, there's core skills that I don't think will change, right? Like, for example, complex solving, problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, negotiation. And those are like skills that you need going into the future, irrespective of which sector of the economy you're participating in or you want to start participating in. The one skill that I don't see here is the ability to learn continuously. Guys, you must make learning part of your DNA. Learn, 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 and keep learning. Read a lot, research a lot to understand where things are moving. Because even for the people in the work environment at the moment, they are having to learn more quicker than they ever have to in their life to stay relevant. And you guys as young people also need to sort of embed that into your DNA. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to look at, so let's move away from the traditional sense of employment, right? I also saw an interesting study to say Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. Who would have thought that about Uganda? Taking the state of most African countries, including Uganda, right? And then I wanted to understand to say, why did Uganda become so entrepreneurial? It's because there's just no jobs. Therefore, the guys there are forced to become very creative and find solutions to societal problems. And I think the young people in South Africa, we also have to adopt a similar mindset. So I went and researched and I looked at a few people across industry sectors and with different skills and backgrounds to say who's making it out there, especially from the young people's perspective. I saw people like Theo, who has come up with a brand, the shoe brand Batu. Similarly, I saw Lekau, who has come up with Drip. And these guys seem to be doing very, very well. And if you look at their background, especially Lekau, I've seen Lekau's story where he says he started creating shoes simply because he didn't have shoes. That's amazing, guys. He found inspiration from his hardship, and we all have to take inspiration from from our hardships to find or create solutions to the society that we live in. Somizi, as an example, I know we always look at people from a celebrity perspective, but I've seen the entrepreneur in Somizi. The guy hustles. I follow him. I look at his posts where he encourages people, where he shares his experiences to say, you know what, even you must understand in the journey of an entrepreneur to say, not all the days will all be the same. Not every day will be perfect. You'll have tough days as part of the journey, but you need to push on if you want to succeed. So look out for people like Somizi. I saw Ndivuo. Ndivuo, for me, I only learned about him during the hard lockdown, during COVID. And he has found a way to take his passion, his creativity, to create an income stream for himself by monetizing the videos that he creates and he posts online. And well done to the guy. That's pure creativity. You're not waiting to be interviewed to get into some TV program or radio program so that you can be a celebrity. You're just taking your creativity from the comfort of your home, creating entertaining videos, sort of linking with people even overseas in the US, etc., and you're making money from that. Good on you, brother. And our young people need to find inspiration in people like you. I've seen this lady, Amanda, very inspiring lady. She's written a few books. She's also a CEO. She comes from a corporate background, but she's killing it in her own right, right? And she also runs mentorship programs online. So again, if you want to follow the corporate formal entrepreneurial route or the corporate route, people like Amanda are there as an example for you to look up to learn from, and also figure out how you sort of create or carve your own path based on the lessons that we learn from people like them. Another interesting area for me that I've been looking at is farming. So many young people around the Northwest, Limpopo, etc., Eastern Cape have taken up farming and they seem to be doing really, really well. So, again, if there's one message that you should get out of this, is that there's so many opportunities out there from an entrepreneurship perspective. Find what works for you and what you're really good at, and go at it with everything that you get, and you'll be successful. I've seen a group of young guys that have created a company called DigiToken, still sort of developing and growing, but they seem to have a lot of innovative solutions that are going to disrupt the market as we know it. So look out for them as well. Okay. So where do you start as a young person? Personally, for me, I always believe knowing yourself is the best place that you can start. So get a deep understanding of yourself. I'm a very critical person with myself, and I believe you should also be critically and brutally honest with yourself. Do a SWOT analysis of yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your threats? What are your opportunities? Therefore, use this as a starting point for you to identify where you can start looking at for opportunities. Is it in the corporate sector? Is it in the entrepreneurship sector? What is a need in our communities? Another interesting fact that I learned recently, it's actually something that I think we all know, but the more you read, the more you look at motivational videos, the more this information becomes top of mind, right? But I saw from ALAX.com the other day to say the only way to wealth is through the generation of multiple streams of income, right? So even if you're working as a permanent person, find another stream of income or revenue stream. That way you start building your wealth early on. Okay. Then moving on from your strengths, here's a plug for you guys, right? I really, really love alux.com. It really, really gets me going, especially on the tough days. Okay. So if you guys want to find inspiration, this is a cool video that I found the other day. It says 15 powerful goals to set for 2021. I would definitely recommend that you guys look that up. It's on YouTube, alux.com, ALUX. Absolutely, absolutely amazing channel that has a lot of insights that I believe you guys will also benefit from. Okay. So I think that's a message that really I had for you guys for today. I believe this helps you to get started if you haven't already gotten started for the year. Get out of the blocks, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You have all the talent and the skills. If you just look at, for those of you that live in the township, if you just look at the township economy, there's so many opportunities that lie in the township economy, and no one understands the township better than you. So let's not wait for people coming from outside to come into the township and to make money from the township. Let the people in the township make the money themselves. Okay. So I really, really, really hope you guys that I hope that this video helps you guys and helps you sort of get into the right mindset so that you can focus on the goals that you want to achieve in 2021. And I wish you all the best. And I know you guys will succeed. Don't let COVID depress you. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Go out there. As Mendoza used to say, "Uzoyithola kanjani uhlele khoneni." Cheers, guys. Look forward to seeing you in the future.